Hi everyone, it's Israel. I'm going to be doing some more Lightroom work today on this image that I took in Malaysia of this resort that's out in the water during sunset. I took this with the wide angle lens, a very long exposure, 30-second photograph. Okay, now one of the things that you might want to stick around for here is I'm going to be fixing a couple of issues that I noticed with this picture, particularly a couple of spots that are showing up. Now I can see a spot here that it's probably due to some water or some dirt that's on my lens. And I'm going to be showing you the tool to use that and a couple of tricks that you might be able to use with that. Okay. Now I'm going to get started with my normal workflow, which is to get started with the whites. I'm going to hold down Option, push that over to the right. And because this is sunset, there wasn't a lot of light to begin with. And I want to keep it looking like sunset. So I don't want it to look too bright. So I'm going to bring that back. And then I'm going to push the black over to the left. Don't want to push it too far because I still want some definition in the building here. After that, I'm going to go to my exposure, bring that up just a little bit, and then my contrast. Okay, keep that image looking a little bit darker. I want it more to be of a silhouette here against the, in front of the light source. Okay. Now my highlights for this picture, because I want to do something very specific with highlights, I don't want to bring it down. I actually want to bring it up in this image because it's so dark so that it enhances some of the brighter areas in the image. My shadows, if I bring this up just a bit, I'll see a little bit more definition in the building, but I don't want to push it too far. Okay, after that, I want to bump up the clarity of this picture, add a little bit more detail. Oh, I noticed that I left my clipping tool on, so I want to come up to this triangle and turn that off. You'll see that that ends up going away there. In case you missed that, the clipping tool shows all the areas where the colors are being clipped. So turn that off. And then because it was sunset, I want to bring up the warmth of this image. I'm going to bring it up quite a bit. I want to see some of that orange yellow glow that was happening back here in the back. Okay, I like that. I'm going to bring up the vibrance of this image quite a bit because it is dark and there isn't that many colors happening here. And then saturation, I'm not going to manipulate that much. I don't want the colors looking too unrealistic. Okay, so those are the basic adjustments. I'm going to move on down now to the highlights that I want to make. Now, what I want to do is I really like the way that this violet color is coming through during sunset. I want to enhance that, specifically in the highlights area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the highlights by that color. Okay, I like the way that looks. I'm going to keep that. And then for the shadows, what I want to do is this water is looking a little bit green. Okay, I want to keep my theme of this violet blue theme going. So I'm going to select somewhere around here, and you'll see that that changed my water to a more blue looking color, but it's also giving it a little bit of the violet. Okay, now remember, I can use the balance tool to balance between the shadows and the highlights, depending on what I'm going for. Now, I don't want too drastic of a change, so I'm just going to push it towards the highlights a little bit more. Okay, and I like the way that ended up. I'm going to leave that as is. No detail sharpening. Shot at 100 ISO for a very long period of time, so it doesn't need it. No chromatic aberration that I can see. I'll do another video of an image that has some chromatic aberration and how I fixed it. But I am going to enable the profile correction, and what you'll see is if you focus over here, you'll see what that does. Because it's a wide angle lens, it'll undo some of the distortion from the lens. Okay, no transformation, do a video of that in the future, no vignetting, no calibration. Now, I want to get to the spot removal. Okay, I'm going to click on the spot removal because I notice there's a spot here, and I notice there's a spot over here. There is a tool that you may not be aware of called Visualize Spots. Okay, and what this does is it gives you a negative type image, and what you do is there's a slider, and you can pull that over to the right and start to see, maybe I can start to see that this spot over here is showing up. Kind of takes away, obviously, the color and detail of the picture so that you're able to pull out any spots. Now, what's interesting is I can see this spot, but I can't see the one down here. So I guess you still have to visually inspect your image. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this heal, uh, sorry, this tool, because there's two things that you can select. You can select clone and you can select heal. Excuse me. Now, clone, what it does is if you select an area, the area it samples from is going to be an exact match. So it's going to depend on where you're pulling that information from. Now, if you select heal, excuse me, what it's going to do is it's going to do a lot better job of doing a blend. So it just depends on what you're looking for. So I'm going to try to do that correction. There was some violet. Now this is a little bit more difficult because this spot ended up being between the blue and the violet. So I don't want to use clone, I want to use the heal. It's just going to do a nicer job of blending, but you're still going to have to make an adjustment so that it looks natural. I like the way that looks. So I click done, and then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to make an adjustment to this spot that's over here. Now it turns out, I guess, that my lens had some sort of watermark or something on it, and that's unfortunate. So I'm going to use the heal so that it uses a little bit better blending. And there we go. We've corrected those two spots that were on the lens. Now, if you do end up having these spots on the lens, chances are that they're showing up over multiple images. Now, a way to overcome that is you can click Control C, you can come over here and click on the spot removal, and then when you go and apply, you can apply these to other images, and what it's going to do is that it's going to obviously already have these selected and apply them to other images. Because typically when you have a watermark or something on your lens, it's in the same place for every single image. So you can just copy that setting and paste it across several images, and it's going to do that spot healing for you. Now you should still review it to make sure that it's not sampling from an area you don't want, but it is a nice tool in case you're taking similar type images and you have the spot that's in the same place over different pictures. Okay, I'm going to click done. I like the way this image ended up. I don't think the changes are over the top. I like the silhouette of the building. I'm pretty happy with the way this ended. Now, I'm going to show you the original, doing the backspace, where we were and where we ended up. And I don't think we made that many adjustments that were too drastic. If you like my image, or sorry, if you like my video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. I'm happy to answer them as best as I can. So until next time, thanks. Bye.